Howdy, and welcome to Texas Teacher Talk, where you get to listen to a Texas teacher talk about the state of education in the great state of Texas. Also, I have a teeny dog who hates to be by himself. My name is Charlotte, and I'm glad you're here today. And so I've been hemming and hawing about starting this channel and doing this for quite a while now. And finally, the state of Texas handed me just a beautiful starting point to just start. I've actually had this name owned and bought out on all the social media, or not bought, but registered on all the social media for quite a while now, and been kind of wanting to get going on talking about various things that impact teachers in the state of Texas. Specifically, myself, I am a teacher in the state of Texas, and I have been. This is my 16th year teaching and my 15th overall in the state of Texas. I've taught in various different cities in the state. I've taught, I believe, in 5 different districts, and all of my experience has been at the secondary level. I'm also the daughter of a public school teacher. My mom retired after 40 plus years of teaching. She taught both private and public, though the majority of her career was spent in Texas teaching public school. So here I am. And today I checked the news, and lo and behold, my representative, I believe Talarico, has a press conference today where he is announcing his grand scheme. So I thought that I would watch the press conference and then react with you guys. So let's go. Let's get after it. Let's see what Mr. Man has to say here. Oh, it is going to make me watch a ad. So sorry. I don't know if there's anything you can pay for to be done with that, but
Thanks
here
for
we
sticking
are.
with us again. We're going to go live now to the Texas State
We do
Capitol, where
like
our
Will
news conference
Dupree.
is beginning. State
Will
Democratic
Dupree is,
lawmakers are laying out a plan.
we like him. He's fun.
Here in the state. Let's
So here we go.
I taught 6th grade language arts at Rhodes Middle School on the west side of San Antonio. And when I was a teacher, I struggled to make ends meet. And my coworkers...
Oh, you know what? I want to put captions on for just a minute, just because, oh my gosh, KXN, could you make this a little more difficult?
And sold their own blood plasma to make extra money.
There we are.
Now, 40% of Texas teachers work a second job just to pay the bills. It's no wonder that thousands of educators are leaving the profession. We have an emergency teacher shortage in this state, and it requires emergency action by the Texas legislature. That's why I'm proud to stand here with my colleagues introducing legislation that will give an across-the-board $15,000 pay raise for every teacher in Texas.
Okay. First thoughts. Obviously, this is the headline. Teachers could be getting a $15,000 raise in the state of Texas. First off, I'm glad that he's a former teacher and that he's a representative. I do believe that we need teachers, people who understand the day-to-day experience of being a teacher. We need them in government making these types of decisions, because I think we have a lot of people who have no idea what's going on, thinking that, well, just because I'm a member of the public and it's public education and all kids are, it's accessible to all kids, which is true. And we are beholden to our communities. They employ us, and they are the reason we exist, but also we're here to educate all students, not just your student. So I am glad that we have somebody who understands the absolute diversity that many teachers face in just trying to get one single thing done in the classroom, of trying to meet every single student's needs. And it's not a frustration, it's we desperately want to meet those needs. I can tell you, in the 15, 16 years I've been teaching, those needs have grown exponentially. And since COVID, it has just exploded. The level of need that I see in the classroom day to day is beyond anything that I can describe. We have so many students and families in such deep levels of crisis that have nothing to do with education, but directly impact your students' ability to learn. And that requires significant amount more individualization and attention and direction from teachers that I just don't feel like is something we really talk about a lot. So even though I'm pretty sure he hasn't taught post-panty, as we like to say, as I like to say, I make stuff up. It does sound like he has taught in public school, which I'm grateful for. And he is right. We have an emergency in the state of Texas. We actually have a countrywide emergency, but since education is primarily a state's issue, this is how we attack it. We attack it as a state. We can't fix the nation's problem on this front. We can only fix our problem. And I fully believe that Texas has the ability to be a leader in this area. So I'm not unimpressed. I will say he represents my area. I can't remember if I said that or not. And I did hear that they did him dirty with the Zoom, which they did. But then I think I kind of did him dirty with my pause. So let's go on and see what else he has to say here.
This, if passed, would be the largest pay raise for teachers in Texas history. That's the kind of bold action this moment requires. And we can do this. Our state has a $47 billion budget surplus. That's $47 billion with a B. That's enough to give an across-the-board $15,000 pay raise for every teacher in Texas, a 25% increase for all support staff, and still have more than half the surplus left over. So we have...
Okay, so now is where my brain starts asking questions, right? Like, okay, this sounds great. You've got a cute little sign. You made it look like it's chalk on a chalkboard. Cute. I have not had a chalkboard. I think I've had a chalkboard in one of my classrooms, but that's cute. Oh, I did him dirty with the pause again. Sorry. So he starts talking about this surplus that we have as a state, which I have heard about. And one of my friends even, who, bless her, she was a roommate, and she has heard the trials and errors of everything that I go through. And she was like, hey, I heard the state has this surplus. Wouldn't it be great if they spent it on teachers? And I'm like, yeah, right. So when he came out today saying, hey, we have a surplus, let's spend it on teachers, I was like, okay, let's tell me more, James. Okay, so my question is, where did we get a $47 billion surplus? Because I live in Central Texas in an area where property taxes have not gone down. Let's put it that way. And I know that Abbott is coming out and swearing up and down that property taxes are going to get cut this next session. So my question is, where did the surplus come from? And okay, you're going to give us okay, let's say yes, you do. You give us a $15,000. Let's say we get a plus $15,000 at the end of the school year. Beautiful, love it, happy to be here. What about next school year? Do we have the longevity as a state to keep that up and to maintain that level of pay for teachers beyond just this 1 year stopgap to just get teachers back in the classroom, which we desperately need, desperately. But what happens in 5 years? Because I'm not in my first year of teaching. I've actually already taught through a recession. So things get real weird. I actually took a buyout at a job early on in my career where they were offering you 15% of your next year's salary to resign. And I took that. So having kind of seen the ups and downs of the economy as a teacher, a millennial teacher, we've had such a cute time financially. Having seen that, I have questions like, what are the mechanics of this? Where is this money coming from? And how will it continue for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Or is this going to be just like a big bump and then we're just going to get stuck here for the next 20, 30 years, which we have been stuck for about 20, 30 years, realistically. So that's my question. Maybe he'll answer it.
No excuse. Hoarding
You do have no excuses.
while educators.
Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, bless me. Hold on. Okay, so one other thing. He did mention that it's not just a $15,000 raise for teachers. It's a, he mentioned 25% for support staff. I think we can do better. If you're talking about $47 billion, we've got, I think last time I checked, it was roughly 280,000 teachers in the state of Texas, 300,000 somewhere in there. Our support staff I am underpaid as a teacher. They are disrespected with their paycheck, to be honest. Our support staff does not get enough money at all, not even a little bit. And we really do owe so much of our system to them, to those men and women that really do some incredible work day in and day out, specifically some of our staff who work with our kids we have students who are violent. We have students who are really, really high medical needs. We have some students, we just have some students that I think a lot of people aren't really aware of the level of straight up care that we're offering to these students, which we should be, because I firmly believe in a free and appropriate education for every student. But it takes people to do that. And it takes skill and talent and incredible work ethic and an incredible desire to serve, to do those things. And we definitely can do better for our paras than 25%. We need, I want to see 50, minimum 50% raise for them. I'm very serious. So yeah.
Any business person worth their salt will tell you, you don't stick your money under a mattress.
It's out of sync. Sorry.
By making smart investments. And the smartest investment we can make as a state is in the next generation. Giving a pay raise for all teachers.
That's why we're teachers.
Is the best educational investment we can make. The education research is crystal clear. Teachers are the most important non-school related factor to student success. Education is a complicated enterprise, but it all comes down to that relationship between a student and an educator. Raising teacher pay is something we can do.
I firmly agree with that. And I firmly agree that the state needs to start putting its money where its mouth is with what they're expecting of us educationally speaking.
And something we must do. I often say that the most important job in the world is being a parent, but the second most important job in the world is being a teacher. It's also one of the hardest, especially in our high poverty schools. We ask teachers to clean up the mess left by centuries of poverty, racism, and oppression. Let's be honest, our teachers are the catch-all solution to all of society's problems. We ask teachers to be experts in academic content, pedagogical practice, instructional design, relationship building, community organizing, and administrative paperwork, if we're being honest.
Girls, the paperwork, the straight up paperwork. It's inappropriate. But he's right. And I don't think I think he hit on, so he or his speechwriter did a great job of hitting on the, I think, core thing that keeps teachers teaching, even in some really deplorable conditions that teachers are dealing with these days. Teachers are dealing with some awful, awful situations. I know plenty of teachers who have left, and I don't blame them for 1 second. If you leave bless you, move on, do your thing. It's not, I understand. I understand why you leave. I really do. And so he is hitting, and it is nice to hear a politician admit that as a country, we kind of throw everything in teachers' laps, right? Because you can't control how a parent raises their kid, but you certainly can control what a teacher does and talks about and says and expects of your kids. So they certainly do control that. But it is nice to hear, the recognition that parents are critical. Nothing replaces a parent, ever. And when a parent is gone, a teacher will not replace that parent, even a great teacher. However, we all have students who how do I put it? We all have students that we love dearly, and we love all of our students, but we all have students who capture us in some way. And I hope that every kid has a teacher that they capture in some way, because we can only spread ourselves so far. But we have so many kids who come to us with a gaping wound of some kind of missing parent piece that needs to be filled before we can educate them. And whether that's believing in them, whether that's telling them that they can do hard things, whether that's telling them that they are screwing around and you expect more of them. End of story. Knock it off. Any of those things that a parent would have discussions with, teachers sometimes have to step in and have those types of discussions with kids as well. And sometimes those are the only places those discussions are coming from for those kids. And so it is nice to hear a politician at least admitting that, hey, now, is it the best societal plan to have, everything resting on our education system? But it's nice to hear that somebody acknowledges it.
Right? Teachers have to do all of those things while standing on their feet all day long, maybe getting a quick lunch break or bathroom break, if they're lucky. And now, because our state has failed to do something about the readily accessible weapons of war in our community, teachers are being asked to use their own bodies to protect our kids against mass shooters. After the COVID-19 pandemic, teachers are facing a historic learning loss in our schools and an escalating mental health.
Okay, so let's talk about mass shootings. They happen at high schools, and I think every teacher is aware that it could happen at any point. And we all have different views as teachers on where that's coming from. I disagree with him that tougher gun laws would make a difference. We're not going to go into that. I think that a school system that was more robust and more capable of meeting individual students' needs and providing them meaningful opportunities where they are and for their goals and for their learning styles and their needs, I think we could go a long way towards reducing that. I am not blaming those events on schools. I'm saying that we have a lot of room to grow as a system in how we differentiate our support for students.
Crisis. Teaching was a near impossible job before, and now it's only gotten harder.
The mental health is insane.
About this legislation.
That sounded bad. Sorry.
but I want to bring up a few of my colleagues and some of the educators in our community to talk about what this would mean for our.
That I shouldn't have said that. The mental health is insane. That was poor choice of wording. I cannot explain to you how many of my students are in some kind of crisis right now, regardless of race, gender, family financial situation. The number of students who have had a significant loss close to them, not even COVID related, but just a significant loss, is phenomenal. And it's regardless of how you feel about how we handled lockdown and everything, the reality in this moment is that it has impacted our children, not it. So regardless of how you feel about it, the impact is there and must be addressed. And I think it's going to be a scar on that generation for a long time. And that's going to impact how we educate this generation.
Kids in our schools. First is my dear friend, Representative Gina Hinojosa, who has led on this issue session after session, also has a historic teacher pay raise bill in the works. And so I want to bring up Representative.
So you've got 2 historic teacher pay raise bills. Interesting. Is like one the House and one's the.
My name is Gina Hinojosa. I have the privilege of representing Central Austin here in the Texas House. I want to clarify something about this conversation. We don't actually have a teacher shortage in the state of Texas because, as my school board member from the Austin ISD School Board pointed out, Andrew Gonzalez, who's standing here behind me, the teachers exist. The teachers are here. They have chosen to walk away from a profession that undervalues them, underpays them, and under-resources their job.
That is a very good point. Living near to where this lady serves, I can tell you that a lot of our school districts either don't realize or don't have the means to do anything about the fact that they are not competing with other school districts. They're used to being like, oh, we're the good school district. All the teachers will come here. Because a couple of years ago, the teachers were like, I'm done. Y'all can play your pretty little shoulder buddy partners and all that. You're not paying me enough to pay my bills. I'm out. And school districts are no longer competing with other school districts. They're competing with Apple, Google, Oracle, who all is in this area. I know Samsung's here, Tesla's here. I mean, you're not competing with, you're playing with the big boys. And I know that you can't compete directly with those companies, but you could at least not treat us like trash. You could at least pay us enough to pay our bills, including the property taxes that you're levying against us. Just a thought.
And he would know. He was 2020 Teacher of the Year at Travis High School. He too chose to pursue another profession and invest his extra time on the school board to get this right.
I know a lot of I know another school board nearby that has a former teacher.
My own experience demonstrates what the data shows. My own son Pablo did not get a teacher in the 5th grade this year. They waited for 2 weeks in his class before finally a decision was made to divide the class in half, put one half of the class in one already existing full classroom, and the other half of the class in the other already existing full classroom. The students struggle, the teachers struggle, and understand that it's not just the teachers that we are losing. That campus has shrunk in size. There are fewer people on that campus to take care of that kids because, let's be honest, it takes a whole school community to make our schools function.
Absolutely. And that goes back to the support staff. We have had multiple support staff positions just standing open on my campus, as well as teaching positions just standing open. I thought it was interesting what she mentioned about how her son's class got divided. I'm smiling like it's funny. It's not. Like that her son's class got divided, got dissolved, basically. That happens frequently. And it is the really, I think, twisted part about it that you never really hear about is the fact that the district now is not paying that teacher, that they couldn't fill that position. So they're saving the salary and the benefits. And when they dissolve a class like that, they remove the posting, so they're not going to hire that person. And it's not like that salary gets split up over the teachers who are getting dumped on either. The district saves that money. The district is financially incentivized to dissolve those classes. And when it comes time to do building master schedules for the next year, everybody's just going to magically forget that we had that extra allocation. We may do this year. That's how we lost positions in 2008, and some of those still haven't been gained back. And we're losing them again. Still. It's great.
Let me give you an example of that. Pre-pandemic, my son, same son, Pablo, had a freak out moment. They were spending so much time on preparing for the STAR test the next year. He decided, I'm out. He tried to run away from school.
Happens all the time.
At the door, he was intercepted by the assistant principal. She asked him, where are you going? He said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to wait till my mom gets here. I was going to hide behind the bush until she shows up. After
Buddy. Oh, it got loud.
She averted
Sorry if
a
it was super
disaster
quiet.
for us.
Yeah.
She is no longer at that campus because of budget cuts. She did not come back this year because we did not have the money to continue with her position. The reason he freaked out is because it turns out Pablo's dyslexic. Pre-pandemic, we had to wait a year to get him evaluated for dyslexia, for special education, despite a plea from his teacher and myself to make this happen, because before the teachers started leaving, we lost special education personnel who are essential to identifying our kids who need that special education. It takes all of us to make our schools work. The teachers and parents who are
And that district's now part of a federal lawsuit involved because they're so far behind on their special ed evaluations. Because suing the district is going to help them get on track with things. Yes, let's make them spend money on arbitration instead of hiring more staff. I'm a big fan of, like, why are we suing people when we, like, it? Yes, sue the sue the school district. Obviously, we just, anyway, many things that can be done. But I do understand, because that district is hundreds of evaluations in arrears. Hundreds. It's terrible. And there are reasons.
holding on, hoping against hope that help is coming, are watching us. They're watching to see. With one foot out the door, they're watching us to see, are we going to send help? Do we give a damn to invest and do what it takes to do right by our kids, to do right by our schools? And are we going to work as hard as they do to ensure that our schools survive and thrive.
Great speechwriters. Very well researched. Y'all have talked to some teachers. Good job. Hi, it's me. I'm who she's talking about. Like, seriously. Wait, did I actually put? Yes. Okay. I'm serious. I've said for a while now, it's getting harder and harder to stay because I don't see how you turn this ship around. I don't. Like, you're right. This headline is a little bit of hope. But I think, so there was another piece of legislation, not last session, but the session before, so 4 years ago, where they promised all teachers a $5,000 raise. So I think, okay, you're up here promising me a $15,000 raise. I have until the middle of July, beginning, I'll have to double check the dates, to sign my contract, or to resign, basically, without fault. I'm just saying, y'all better come through. I mean, I'm not saying that this entirely depends. I'm making no statements about my actual job, just FYI. I'm speaking kind of like in the larger sense of teachers. We have seen this before. It's cute. It's great. We get very excited. But you better put your money where your mouth is.
Thank you. I next want to introduce my colleague and friend, Terry Mesa.
I'm Representative Terry Mesa. Teresa Mesas to sing songy. I represent Irving, Texas, and the Dallas County.
Oh, hey. I used to live near there.
I started off my young adult life as a teacher before I ever knew that there was such a thing as a female who could be a state representative. But I had a
She looks like a teacher.
teacher in my family, and you know what they say about role models. So she was my role model. All growing up, I always wanted to be a teacher. So I've taught every level from kindergarten through sophomore level college, and support teachers, and that's why I'm here today. Proud to stand not only with Representative Jeannie Hinojosa, but with my public ed committee member, James Talarico, and I believe Diego Bernal is somewhere here as well. And we both are very proud to serve on the public education committee, and we're very devoted to that. We've heard powerful remarks from both Representative Talarico and Representative Hinojosa. It's my job to do some powerful sharing of some numbers on how far behind Texas is when it comes to teacher pay, and how this bill aims to make Texas one
I've
the
heard
best
some of these
places in the
numbers.
country when it comes to teacher quality and to school quality. So the top line is that it's embarrassing.
I'm gonna stop real quick. You guys already have the teacher quality. There are some incredible teacher prep programs in this state, and there are some incredible teachers in this state. The teachers that are hanging in there are some of the most incredible teachers that if you just gave them a slightly smaller class size and enough money that they didn't have to run that side hustle, girl, yes, like you've got incredible teachers. I have worked with literally hundreds of teachers across my career. I can think of like maybe 2 who didn't like being there, and I would have to really sit and like think to come up with those names. Because even teachers who the kids don't like, I as a teacher can look at them and be like, I see why you're here though, and I see your heart. This may not be the right thing for you, but I see your heart, and you've got tons of people who want to help these kids, and you are making it literally as hard as humanly possible. So, and she's right, the state should be embarrassed with how much they pay us. They really should. Last time I checked, I think the minimum teacher wage in the state of Texas, so like the portion that I think the state allots and then the districts provide on top, I think the portion that the state allots, last time I checked, is like something like 25,000. Don't quote me, but it's pretty low.
that Texas ranks in the bottom half of states for teacher pay. But this bill that Talarico is introducing,
And we have areas that raise in the highest for rent. I'm just saying, or that rate in the highest for rent. So I'm just saying that 1% raise is actually a pay cut.
Representative Talarico is introducing would bring us up to the top 10 states for teacher pay. Right now, teacher salaries are $7,500 below the national average, putting Texas in the bottom half of the states when it comes to teacher pay. We love to brag in Texas about how great our state is, and so we never like to see any statistics that show us in the bottom half. The situation is even worse for veteran teachers. They're paid $13,000 less than veteran teachers in other states. That's forcing some of our best and brightest educators to literally leave the state, not just leave the profession, but leave the state to find better paying jobs. When accounting for inflation,
I've seen it.
teacher salaries have actually declined over the past decade.
Oh my gosh! Somebody said it! Somebody said it! So I haven't done the math yet, and I do want to, maybe this will be another episode. I do want to sit down and look at my actual salary each year and look at my raise versus the inflation in that year, because I'm fairly certain I've gotten a pay cut every single year of my career. In other careers, bonuses have 4 digits, 5. In education, they typically have 3. And that first one isn't very high.
It would put Texas in the top 10 states for teacher pay. It puts us on a path toward making Texas the best state in the country, supporting teachers and supporting students. Thank you. Next speaker is Arathi Singh, who is Austin ISD School Board President.
Oh, her tweet was the one I saw about this. I like her too. I've watched some of their meetings.
Representative Mesa.
I don't work in AISD.
And thank you, Representative Talarico, for inviting me. We've got several school board trustees here behind me. If you're a school board trustee, just raise your hand and wave.
Okay, and I'm actually going to pause. Oh, I did her dirty on the pause too. I'm actually going to pause for right now because this is kind of a long video. But that's my thoughts on the politicians. Well, I guess school board members are kind of politicians. That's my thoughts. I want to sum up. Let me sum up. It is too much. Let me sum up. I want to know where the money's coming from, what's the longevity, and what is the plan for continuing to keep pace with inflation. Also, pay our paras. Good Lord Almighty. Pay them. If you know, you know. If you have a child who has high needs, you know that those paras are doing incredible work and deserve far more than minimum wage or below in some areas. Well, not the legal minimum wage. I'm talking about like the tradition, like our paras on our campus. I think some of them make less than they would at like Chick-fil-A. That's not great. So I'm going to sign off for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested, ask for a part 2 and I'll do the rest, and have a great day.